and Stitch.
Yay! You know the name!
You're feeling really facetious today, hey?
And wait for it.
Wait for
Legend.
it. Wait
for it. Dairy.
Oh. Well, thank you for joining us today and tuning in.
Thank you for coming. It's great to see you all again.
It's very nice to be in your living room, kitchen, bedroom. That's where we're stopping. Yep. No more.
It's been 2 weeks.
We've been knitting up a storm, and by we, I mean she.
Yeah, I've been knitting.
Yeah.
You have too, though.
I have. In the last 2 days.
The last 2 days you've been going crazy.
Has been going crazy.
But you've been working on your thesis.
I have, and I've been making progress like crazy.
Yay, I'm so glad.
Me too. Soon that thing will be done. I mean, the wonderful paper with all the original research.
Yes. I love it.
Yes, indeedio.
So you're feeling better today?
Feeling way better. I don't have strep throat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a sinus infection.
Yeah.
I didn't just get a tooth pulled this morning.
That's true.
So all in all, I'm feeling pretty good.
That's
I
good.
did go to the dentist this morning, but it was a cleaning and a regular checkup, and I could clean my teeth. Look.
That's a good face. That's
know,
my
right?
favorite face.
We're not going to zoom in. But it's my first cleaning, and for those of you who are into your dental health, I'm sorry. This is going to horrify you. It's my first cleaning in 12 years.
Yeah, that's terrible. Hold that thought.
Where are you going?
I'm going over here.
Where are you going?
I thought that might be bright on people's eyes.
So thoughtful. Yeah, I think that's a bit better.
You're welcome.
See the things we do for you?
Yeah, I just did that for you. That wasn't for me. It wasn't bothering me at all.
No, it was all for them, hey?
Yeah,
So what about you? How are you feeling today?
I am feeling great. I've cast on a new pair of socks, which is very different for me, and I'll go into that in a minute.
Oh, a different kind of cast on?
It's very different to me.
Very, very different.
I feel very odd being on this side, actually. I'm just going to point that out right now.
Yeah, I feel like we're usually sitting on the opposite sides of each
We
other.
are,
We
yeah.
are, yeah.
So when I look at the screen, I look where I normally would look.
And I'm there. I know, I keep finding that too.
So
We just want to keep you on your toes and not let you get
mix
too
it up a bit.
comfortable.
And we have been struggling. The struggle is real, people.
It's very real. For good light.
Struggling for light, yeah. So we've moved around the living room again to see if this is going to work better. We've got some natural light directly going to us. So
And it's directly behind the camera, which is where it should be when you're taking pictures. And so hopefully that
should make a difference. I think we got it this time. It only took us, what episode is this?
9.
Is it 9?
Yeah, it's
We're
episode
not
9.
even at double digits yet.
Well, it technically, but 1 is 1.5.
Oh yeah.
So,
this
if you count our teaser trailer, which is really just a trailer, an introduction to what the show is going to be like.
It's so
doesn't
funny
really count.
how it started like that, hey? Because
Yeah.
we were joking around and we just put a 1.5 minute episode up. And
Of nothingness, really.
yeah.
Yeah.
And just playing around, and then our first, that was really, it wasn't going to be a thing.
No.
And then we're like, well, hey, I got a lot of feedback on it, so a lot of people were encouraging us
To make it a thing.
to make it a thing. So then we did our first episode, and we didn't even know if we were going to continue after that, or if we were going to, or I guess it's like, it's fluid, so it changes. It's always different.
It's always different.
And it depends on how our energy is too, because sometimes we're like really hyper and it's like midnight
And people are like, whoa, intense.
Yeah.
And we're like, hee hee hee.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that it's gonna continue to change.
Yeah, because it's us being real.
Yeah.
So if we're lower energy, if we're like grumpy at each other, hungry, we don't tend to podcast.
Nobody wants to see that.
No, we don't even want to see that. And so,
it's so funny.
But there are days where we do have lower energy than others, and days where we're higher energy, and It comes out.
Yeah, so today, again, you had a dentist appointment, which is awesome.
I did have a dentist appointment. We're trying to do it on days that I don't have the dentist, but after being 12 years, it looks like that might be a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's got a lot of dentistry to do. What else is new? What else is going on? I don't know. It's been 2 weeks.
You know what's going on? 18 days. 17 days?
17
days.
Yeah.
17 days till we hop over a country and then an ocean to the Emerald Isle.
Yes.
Of awesome.
Yeah. So what are you working on, Scilla?
Well, you see, in March, we did a foot along. And
thanks to everybody who participated.
yeah, thank you so much. We had lots of
Whether you
completed
or not, thank you very much.
Yeah, we saw some pretty amazing socks out there and some couple pairs of slippers.
We're gonna do the draw for the prize at the end of the episode, and I totally have like taken over here.
I don't mind.
We can come back.
Yeah, I don't feel
good. So we're gonna do the draw at the end of the episode, but what I was thinking is I love people joining in. And I
joiner.
Right. I love it when people join in. And I like high pressure, and I know that there's people who don't like high pressure, and Scilla gets to be one of those people that doesn't like high pressure. But yeah, so I enjoy a good challenge. But I think I enjoy people like joining in more and posting what they're working on more than than the thrill that I get out of having to complete something quickly, because I know that I can usually do that. So what I'm thinking is that we'll alternate, but this next knit along that we are going to do, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit, but just have it as, or even the one that we're doing right now, have it as just what you're working on. It doesn't necessarily have to have a finished object, just as long as you take a picture of it and get it into our finished objects thread instead of the chatter thread before we do the draw at the end of the month, then you'll be entered. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's wonderful, because for me, I'm a leisurely knitter.
Yeah.
So I like to knit when I'm relaxing, and for me it's a way to take my mind off of all the pressure.
Yeah, and I really enjoy having lots of people participating, and there are a lot of podcasts and a lot of knit-alongs where you have to have a completed object. You have to, there's a lot of criteria. You have to have started it by this time, and you have to be completed by this time.
We're not those people.
No, I don't think we are. So for the knit-along that we're doing right for this month, I think we'll even do it like that. We have all of our knit-alongs listed, so you can take a look in our Ravelry group, which we'll have the link below.
Yeah,
and then you can see what we've got going on for the next year, and you can choose if you want to join in. If you don't, if you want to work on something that you've already started, like this month is cable along, so you can work on something that you've already started and just continue working on it for the month. And
we're really flexible too. Like say we're doing a foot along and you're not into doing feet things, but you notice the next month we're doing a cable along, but you really like cables, or you want to learn cables and you're slow, feel free to start a month in advance. We don't have a start and a finish. Look ahead if there's something you want to do, but it's going to take you a little bit longer and you want that extra time to play with it and learn it and take your time with it. By all means, enter.
But having said that, there needs to be some sort of criteria. It has to start in 2015.
Yeah.
So you can't have made it like 2 years ago and you're like, I'm entering all the things.
Look what I made when I was 12.
Right.
And I could have submitted some.
And we're still going to limit it to 1 entry per person. If you do more than one thing, just attach that photo in with your original thing, and then that gives more people an opportunity. It also, and that's kind of what I'm hoping for, is that more people join in, but more people also have an opportunity if they're, a slower knitter or having other kinds of stress or whatever. And, if you've knit, like we did the foot along, and we are going to close it at the end of the month. So if it's not done before that, or you haven't posted your photo before that, it will close because we have to draw prizes and stuff.
Yeah.
So we will close it off at the end of each month. But
you don't have to be finished to post.
Yeah, to post. And that's kind of the idea. Like, I know in the fall we have a double knitting along. And
Is it double knit along for the fall?
Yeah, do you know what double knitting is?
No idea. Like 2 projects at once?
No.
Okay. Whew.
No, it's when you use two different colors and you knit both, like one's a right side and one's a wrong side, but both sides are
So it's reversible?
Yeah, so you knit both sides at the same time. So you alternate colors. So you'll knit one, purl one, but the one you're purling is actually on the right side. It'll look like a knit. So you knit back and forth, but you're knitting both sides at the same time. So it's double thickness.
Okay, that's gonna be cool.
That right?
Yeah.
So
I'll do that.
So
I mean, I'm gonna do all of them.
We have that one coming up in the fall, but I've never done it before, so I'm going to need to learn how to do it before we actually get there, or as we're doing it. But I love learning new skills, and I'm going to be learning beading. Actually, this sock is going to teach me the heel flap and gusset, so I'm learning that this month.
Awesome.
So
I just learned the long tail cast on.
Right? So yeah, and it just keeps it fresh. And if there's something that we're doing that you don't enjoy, then don't participate. Right? But, we're going to draw prizes for as many things as we can. I think that the only one that we might not draw a prize for is May. And the reason being is that May, we're gone.
We're in
Ireland. I will set up and the theme is green, so you can knit whatever you want in green. So,
aw, man,
we're in Ireland.
Even my next project. Yeah, I'll still be working on it, I'm sure.
So yeah, so we just want to see participation and encourage people just to get on their knitting, and so.
All right, absolutely.
So, what are you working on?
So, what am I working on? So, in the month of March, we did a foot along. And for a foot along, you had the choice of doing slippers or socks, and I chose slippers. Unfortunately, my first slipper was a complete Charlie Foxtrot. It did not come out as it was meant to at all.
Foxtrot?
It was too narrow to go around a foot. And
that's Charlie Foxtrot? What the heck? Let's stop there for a second and talk about Charlie Foxtrot. What does that even mean? Who even is Charlie Foxtrot?
It's a complete F up.
Oh!
CF. Phonetic alphabet, Charlie Foxtrot.
Speaking of our younger viewers, hi!
Hi! That's why we went with Charlie Foxtrot.
Gotcha.
So it did not turn out how I wanted it to at all. And I was doing the decrease on the toe. I decreased and then I decreased and I decreased and I decreased. And so it ended up with this little pointy fairy toe. And it was too narrow to actually go around a grown-up foot. So I put it on my knee. So it's this much too long for her. It was awful. Awful, awful, awful. But it was fun to do and it was a good adventure. So I restarted. So that's what I'm working on right now. I'm working on, this is going to be a slipper. And I'll show you what it's going to look like when we get to finished objects. But it's getting close to being done. I think I have about 2 more rows and then the decrease and then sew it together. So that's wonderful. And it's on the back, it looks really cool too. It's
yeah, we showed that last week.
Yeah, I'll show you again. Oh yeah, because we showed them my Charlie Foxtrot fairy slipper.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And the other thing I'm working on is because in April we are doing a cable along. So I cast on my toque, but I'm a monogamous knitter, so this was really hard for me to cast on this before this was finished. But yeah, so I'm going to be starting that probably later this afternoon or tomorrow.
So, toque is a Canadian term.
Oh yeah, toque is a Canadian term. It is otherwise referred to as a hat, a warm cap, or a beanie. So
yeah, and Scylla's doing the Kathleen by Jane Richmond. So
Thank you,
that's
Marsha.
what she's cast on.
Yeah,
And what's your yarn?
It's Malabrigo. I'm just gonna reach over here because we were sitting somewhere else a few minutes ago. It is the Malabrigo 862 Padaris. It's a Royos pure. It's superwash. The size that it takes is 110 yards and it's 100 grams. And the needle size, so it is a worsted weight, I believe. Is that the regular weight size? Worsted? Yeah, it's a worsted weight. And I don't know what that's called in other countries. It's the regular thin-like one. That's bigger than sock yarn. Yeah, and so that's what it is, and it's gonna be really nice. And I'm looking forward to doing the cables, so I get to warm up with some ribbing. So that'll be nice, and that's what I'm working on. And the color is also, it's a really pretty color. It's kind of got flecks of green and brown and a little bit of burgundy in there. So we'll see how it looks when it's done up, but I have a feeling it's gonna be beautiful. Marsha, what are you working on?
Well, I'm working on all the things. So. What I'm working on right now is I've got this Patton's Croy sock yarn in jacquards.
It's really pretty.
I think because the light's better, I think we can zoom in a bit without it being weird.
It's also a different camera than we were using before too.
Yeah. So it's got purple and pink and red and black and white in it. And it is knitting up so fun.
You're so colorful. Oh, I like that.
I love it. Isn't it pretty?
So pretty.
I'm very happy with it. And what
you do is so colorful.
I'm learning the heel. I was going to say the heel toe and gusset, but it's the heel flap and gusset. And I am working on the Hermione's Everyday Sock. And this is something that quite a few people are working on and have told me that it's their favorite pattern. This one in particular, one particular person was telling me that this is what I should do last month. And it's my friend Kay. Hi, Kay! And this is her go-to sock, and I have been on a mission to find the perfect fitting sock for myself. And so I've been playing with stitch count, and I've been playing with how I do my afterthought heel, because that's pretty much the only one I do now. I can do short row heels, but I don't like picking up. And picking up the wraps. But this is... I really enjoyed the rib. I know how to do that. Now I'm going to start in. I didn't know if I was going to do the pattern part or not. I think I am just going to start in on the pattern and do that, find out how much I love it. And I'm also working on, I've got a few things. This was the Messalina, shawl by Kay Jones. This is was for our cable along. But as you can see, you can't see anything.
I thought you tore that out.
I cast it on. Yeah, I am going to rip it out, but I wanted to show it because
you really need a not
because
busy yarn.
Your yarn choice can really impact what your knitting is going to look like and what it's going to do. You know, the kind of yarn. I've never knit with this yarn before. I don't even know where I put the band. I know it's a Canadian yarn, and it's from the Okanagan. That's where we live. I got it at the Armstrong Fair in
Armstrong, BC.
Armstrong, BC. And yeah, there's tons of yarn here, so it can probably be something bigger than a shawl or just a really big shawl, but you can't see any of the cables. Like, I don't know. It's just,
yeah,
it's so hard to see, and
so
it makes
busy
all of that work kind of useless. Like, if this was a lot of lace, then I think it would be fine because it's the contrasting holes, but because it's the cable, it just, choose your yarn wisely.
Long story.
The moral of that story. So that is going to be frogged. It's not on a journey to anywhere. And these are a pair of socks that I'm still working on from last month. And it is from the Sock It To Me Bold colors that I'm using. And these are 2mm needles that, high sharps that I'm using on that. I've also cast on...
Da, da, da.
Da, da, da.
I love the bag. I love. Who'd you get the bag from again? Where'd you get it from?
I can't remember, but I'll put the link.
Okay, because that bag is fantastic.
Yeah, it's really cute. I like it. Oh, here we go. Nomadic Yarns.
Nomadic Yarns. Yeah,
I think. No, that's the yarn. The yarn is from Nomadic Yarns. Hang on a second. Is the... Yes. Both are from.
Yeah, they were...
I bought them from the same person. Yeah, so it's Nomadic Yarns. That's right.
Yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful bag.
And they're on Etsy. It's nomadicyarns.etsy.com. And so that is the color for the socks that I'm going to be knitting. This is actually going to be for the May knit along, but I just ordered some knitting needles from Knit Picks, and I got their, I can't even remember what they're called. Look at me, I'm so useful today. It's their colorful wood ones, because I want this to be my plain knitting, so I was just testing it out because that's why I bought these, was for the plain ride.
And by plain she means airplane, not like her bland knitting.
Yeah.
When at first you said you're plain knitting, I'm like, you're plain? I'm like, but all of the colors you use are so vibrant. Plane,
not Plain. But what I do have to say is that one of the joins has a bit of a ridge compared to the other one. I'm not too terribly fussed. I know that would drive some people crazy.
It would drive me nuts.
But what I've done is I've made sure that the side that the rough join is on is the yarn where the yarn is that my knitting is coming from, not going like, so it goes on there so it won't get caught on that as I go, like it goes down that way instead of coming up on that ridge, so it slides down easy. There's no problem. It's if I had these reversed, it would catch on it and it would annoy me. So and it's not bad, it's just a little bit of an irritant. It's not smooth. It just grabs the yarn a little bit and it just it's like when you go, I don't know. It's the closest I can relate to it. So that's my airplane knitting, but I just wanted to make sure that I cast them on correctly so that it would, just to make sure it wouldn't annoy me while I'm on the airplane, and then I wouldn't get any knitting done if I was annoyed the whole time. And also, I haven't done any work on my sock blanket this month. I did make a box bag for myself. It's a giant box bag, but...
Yeah, she just whipped that out this morning.
But this morning.
Yeah.
What I really liked about it, though...
I came back and there that was.
I wanted to try it on... It's the same fabric as my other bag, but I have cut out tons of fabric to do bags. I don't think I'll make another box bag this big. I think I'll stick to smaller box bags. This is my very first box bag to do, by the way. But I wanted to do it in a larger size because then it gives me more room to practice, and it's not quite as meticulous or tedious, I guess. Tedious. Not quite as tedious. So, but what I have in here is my...
Wow,
and let me tell you what's in here. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 balls of yarn.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
And this beautiful knitting project.
I think that's beautiful. I don't think you should wear it with that shirt.
I could wear it over top. You wouldn't even... They're both orange. They look red in the camera, but they're both orange. And this is... I can't remember the name of what it's called.
It's pretty. Isn't it with bamboo? Like bamboo and
Yeah,
silk?
bamboo silk. Okay, it's called the Zelda. There we go. Zelda.
I feel like we should add in Zelda's theme music.
Yeah. And I knit on it. I went to Prince George, murder capital of Canada, and
You know, just to visit some of our friends.
visited some of our friends. And I got a little bit of knitting done on it there, but it's something that I have to pay attention to, even though it's just a little bit of lace. I still have to pay attention to, especially when I'm doing the lace and then there's, at the same time you're doing the lace, you're also doing this. So yeah, it's coming along nicely. I finally have figured out I did figure out how to make it so it didn't have those lumps, but now that I'm looking at it, if I go back and do it, I don't know. It's just going to be on and off. I'll love it anyway. It's creative and it's pretty. So
It is pretty.
okay, yes. So our friends up north. Yeah, we went up north for Easter, and it was great.
I was going to say Easter in Canada was. I'm pretty sure Easter's an international holiday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was fantastic. We went up there and the kids got to play lots and had a really good time, and Scilla stayed here. And
I did stay here and worked on my really fun and exciting paper.
hung out with my dad, took him out for supper, and he lives with us. He needs assistance.
Assisted living and
Yeah. So he needs help. So so he lives with us because we can give him a little bit more safety and check on him and that sort of thing. So Scilla took him out for supper, and of course it's a hard
holiday for our family.
So, and it's especially hard on him. So so it was really good that she could do that. Hi.
Hi.
So what do you have for stash? Have you gotten anything?
I haven't gotten anything new for my stash. I was looking at what I had in there, this yarn I got for Christmas. Like, I want to knit this, I want to knit this, I want to knit this. I'm like, I still have that. And so I'm going to make I'm going to knit whatever we have coming up for the knit along with what I have. So it might end up being a green cowl.
Nice.
Shocker, right? It might end up being, I don't know, what's the month after next? We talked about what we were going to do each month, and so Marsha put them up, but I didn't look ahead.
Oh, okay. What are you thinking?
I don't know. What is July? It's June.
I have them all memorized.
No?
No.
Okay, good. I thought she did. I'll have to look, but you know, I'll use the stash I have to build something, unless whatever it is isn't going to work with the yarn I have.
You're hilarious.
Long story short, that's my stash. What's new in your stash?
Well, I did order some stuff from Knit Picks, and I've got
Yeah, you did.
I got 4 pairs of knitting needles, the same kind as the ones that I have for my socks. And I got a new sock blocker. So Scilla got me this sock blocker last year for Christmas. Was it, or my birthday?
Christmas last year.
So
Yeah.
last year for Christmas, Scilla got me this sock blocker, and it's a medium size. But when I had kids, my feet grew from a size 8 to a size 9. So I'm finding that the blockers aren't quite long enough, and so I have this one. And it's bigger. So I'll show you.
Good for when you're doing your husband's socks too.
Yeah, and his feet are almost the same size as mine. So yeah, so it's a little bit bigger, and it gives it that nice look. I also got a sweater's quantity of some brown yarn, which I'll show another time, and I've got some sock yarn for dyeing, and I also bought a bag of the yarn that I'm using for these socks. It was cheaper to buy a bag than it was to just buy a couple, so.
But it's so pretty.
Yes!
You can add it to your scrappy sock blanket.
I can so.
Even though it won't really be scraps at that point, but still. Ooh, or make a sock hat. Sorry, I'm just my ADHD's like, well, you can do this, you can do that.
Yeah,
go ahead, Marsha.
Can I talk now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. I really enjoy this yarn. I know, like, I have a lot of indie dyed yarn as well, but I love stripes and all of the indie dyed yarn that I have right now, except for the green, is all just different colors. It's not striping. And for socks specifically, I really enjoy the striping. So my other yarns will be for probably, some of them will be socks, but other ones will be shawls and things, because I won't use my striping yarn for shawls. But this stuff, it wears really well. But I have to say, I wear knitted socks every day. Mm-hmm. Every day, all day long.
It's true.
And they, I've seen and heard that some people only wear them in the house, so they only wear them for bed socks. And I wear mine every day. I've had a little bit of pilling on some of them, but I haven't worn any of them out yet.
No.
And and I'm going to be honest with you, and some of you are going to cringe, so if you have a tendency to cringe when discussing what people do with their knitting, then you might want to
leave the room, go to the washroom. Now's the time to get a snack.
Yeah. So I wash my socks by hand probably once every 4 times I wash them. I wash my socks in the washing machine. I do. I put on the delicate cycle. I put it on cold water. I put a color catcher in with it. And yep, it goes through. It goes through on the washing machine. It's not an agitating one. It's just the spinning kind, front loading. And I have not had any problems with shrinking or anything. Now, I don't recommend it for other people. I don't recommend it for other people. It's what I do. It works for me. And even if there's, with wear, and the bottoms of my socks felt a little bit anyway because of the heat and the wear. So I haven't found, there's one pair that shrunk. And they were too big before I put them in. So they shrunk to my size.
So it was a win!
Yeah. And they shrunk because I put them in they went in with something else. They were still in the legs of my pants or something. And they went
in on the wrong temperature.
They went in the wrong temperature and they shrunk, but it was still fine. Everything was beautiful. So, shall we chat with Scilla and have our psychology with Scilla?
I think it's about time for that.
Okay, we'll see you when you get back. Hello, and welcome to Psychology with Scilla. Today we're speaking with Scilla regarding travel. She comes to us all the way from the Okanagan Valley in Canada, the province of British Columbia. She has been training in psychology for many, 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 many years. She likes to read in the bathtub and sing songs such as Rockabye Baby and Soft Kitty. Please help me welcome Scilla.
Hello, Marsha.
Hello, Sam. How are you doing today? I'm excellent, and how are you?
I am doing wonderfully.
You're here today to speak with us about travel.
I am here to talk about travel.
What do you have to say about travel?
Well, I'm here to talk about the difference between using your disposable income, for those who have disposable income, on travel rather than buying things.
Excellent.
And when you buy something, it does have a spike in your happiness, but it's only directly related with the price of the item. So our smaller items will have smaller spikes in our happiness, and our larger items will have larger spikes in our happiness. But they found, regardless of the size of the item, buying something will cause a spike in happiness that will last anywhere between 1 to 6 months, and even some are almost up to a year. But they find at the 2-year mark, that complete spike in happiness that you've gotten from that purchase is completely gone. Excellent. And so on the other hand, when you go traveling, that can have a lasting effect over a lifetime of happiness and increased pleasure. Because not only do you have the excitement leading up to the travel, like we talked about before, in the delayed gratification, but you also have memories of the travel, and you have pictures. And so every time you reminisce, when you reminisce on a positive event in your past, it also brings you positive feelings and positive affect at that time, which increases your happiness. So it actually keeps increasing your happiness over your lifespan.
So does traveling, say, to knitting retreats, does that add to your happiness?
Absolutely, because not only are you getting to travel, which is something that increases your happiness, you get to learn new skills, and you get to do something that you absolutely enjoy. And so it's like bam, bam, bam of things that will increase your happiness.
Excellent.
Because we've talked in the past too about making things increasing your happiness because of the work and effort you put into it and the time it takes to complete it.
So even if you're not traveling, say, for a knitting retreat, if you're traveling just for pleasure, there are some airlines that allow knitting on the plane. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's wonderful, to be honest. If you want to knit, and if knitting is something that's one of your favorite pastimes, or it relaxes you, or it reduces your anxiety, or you just enjoy it, or you're working on something, but check with the airline. Some might require that you have wooden needles rather than metal, and find out what their policy is. And if you can't knit on the airplane, some people who are anxious too, they find knitting calms them down in landings and takeoffs, and in the air, especially when there's turbulence, because it gives your hands something to do and it gives your brain something to focus on, which is taking the energy away from you feeling anxious.
Excellent. Yes, and I find that for myself. I like to knit while I'm landing and taking off, especially you can't have electronics going, so you can knit.
Yeah.
Sometimes they ask you to put your knitting away.
Yeah, and
during certain times, but
and if they do, just tuck it into the seat in front of you, and then as soon as you're allowed, pull it out and start knitting.
Yes, and I have actually traveled with my knitting previously quite a few times, and I've only had my knitting needles and crochet hooks confiscated once. And
they took your crochet hooks?
They took my crochet hooks, and I had knitting needles and crochet hooks. And I flew from Canada to Mexico, and there was no problem.
It was the way back, wasn't it?
It was coming back that they confiscated my knitting needles and crochet hooks at the carry-on checkout point. And actually, I get anxious going through customs and things anyway, and the person who is looking through my things. She looked at me and held up my knitting needles like this. She didn't speak very good English. She wasn't, because she's Spanish speaking. But her English was limited, and I'm like, they're knitting needles, and they were attached to a sock, and she like points them at me like they're a stabbing mechanism. And so I said, you can have them. And she's like, and then she pulls out my crochet hook and she's like, gives me the angry face. I'm like, you can have that too. And so I pulled out all my needles out of my knitting, so it's all like hanging there without anything in it. No thread or anything, nothing. Handed her all my knitting needles, all my crochet hooks, and she just threw them in the garbage. So
did that hurt a little bit?
It did hurt a little bit, but I had the needles and crochet hooks I had packed were not sentimental to me. They were not high quality. They were just...
And that's something important too when you're traveling. Don't pack anything that you can't afford to lose.
That's right.
And that's really important, because if something is important to you, you may think that you need it or want it on your trip, but think about the option of it being confiscated, taken away, or lost. Is it really worth it? And if it's not something that you would be willing to lose, don't take it with you traveling.
Excellent. Excellent. Did you have anything else to tell us today?
Also, the one fun thing about doing traveling, besides increasing your happiness, longevity, and reducing anxiety on the plane, you also have the opportunity to knit in some of your favorite places in the world. So you can actually Say you were in Rome at the Colosseum. Can you imagine knitting in the Colosseum at Rome? Like, that would be fantastic.
Like, favorite places to knit in the world?
Like, favorite places to knit in the world.
Very nice.
So, like, sitting on a beach in Mexico. Just sitting there, getting your sun on and, you know, knitting.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, I've seen you do that. You know, some people have a book, but when you have a book, too, you're causing shade across your face in a square thing, right?
You can knit.
And, I mean, if you'd like to read, I'm not discouraging that. But also knitting, right? Your knitting gets a little bit sandy, it gets a little bit wet from something. It's not a big deal because knitting is yarn, which tends to be washable.
Excellent, yes. I think that would be a great thing to do is collect photos of yourself knitting in different
I think that'd be wonderful.
Locations. Like, I think that's a good idea.
I do too.
I traveled to Vancouver just over a year ago with one of my best friends, and we went to a Pink concert, and I brought my knitting. We were there before the concert started, and when I first pulled it out, she was like, "Oh my goodness, you brought your knitting to a Pink concert?" And I said, "Yes, I did." And about 15 minutes later, still completely empty space around us, she's like, "I wish I brought my knitting." Like, yeah, you do.
That's awesome.
So yes, I really enjoyed this segment.
Me too. It's been wonderful. I know. I went to the dentist this morning. I'm like, I should have brought my knitting. Yeah,
should have.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for joining us today and speaking to us about travel and
knitting and how it relates to knitting.
And,
yeah. Anytime you'd like to have me back, I'd love to come back.
Okay. Well, let's make an appointment for next time.
Oh, sounds wonderful.
Okay.
Until next time.
Until next time.
Wow, that was incredibly informative.
My sister is so smart.
I'm so glad that we tuned in for that today. I feel really happy to my core.
I feel so... lighter. I feel lighter.
I'm so glad you feel lighter.
I do. I felt heavy before we talked.
And now you feel light?
Now I feel lighter.
Oh,
that was
good.
Impressive. Impressive's the word. Yeah.
It was pretty phenomenal actually. Mm-hmm. That psychology with Scilla, she really knows her stuff.
I know. I know, right? I know.
The other day she was at a conference and somebody asked...
The other day,
somebody asked her about... they didn't even ask her, they asked the facilitator some questions about the Criminal Code of Canada, and Priscilla just gets all cocky and starts popping up and be like, well, actually, da-da-da-da-da, and it was, yeah. And then the facilitator, I don't think she liked Scilla very much.
Why? Because you are...
A cocky know-it-all?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. But you like Scilla, right? Lie if you need to.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I like her.
And you all like Scilla. Don't answer that. Anyway, moving on.
They do. Actually, they like you more than me. People message me, they're like, tell Scilla this, tell Scilla that.
You know what? It's not because they like me more, it's because they can get a hold of you. They can contact you.
Hurts a little. No, I was kidding.
I'm a little bit aloof. They're already talking to you in order to ask. Anyway.
I know.
They love you. Everyone loves you. You're lovable.
You're cute. Thank you.
You're lovable.
I needed my ego strong, so thanks. I appreciate that. I love you too.
No problem.
And we love you.
We do. We love spending time with you.
Okay, Scilla.
Okay.
Back on topic. You have something finished.
I have a finished object! Sorry, that really...
That was loud.
I know, and I was really excited about it. So, my finished object... Let me just tuck in my tail so you can't tell that it's not quite finished. Oh no, I tucked in my tail. That's for taking this one. My finished object is I have one man slipper. I knit slippers for my sister's husband. And there it is. That fits his foot perfectly. He loves it. Got an opening right there. Got a toe right there. What I did was I did 11 rows. Well, I guess 11 sections of 5. So I did 15 across because I knit flat like this. So there was 15 across, and then I did 11 down, and then I started my decrease. And so each of these is 5 stitches. So it's 5 stitches across. And then I cut it into 4.
And it's not a pattern that we have.
No, it's my mom taught us how to knit slippers like this when we were children. And so That's why my first fairy slipper was a fairy slipper. Because I was trying to remember the pattern and remember how to do it.
Yeah.
And so, and I'm sure the pattern exists out there. They're not an abnormal kind of slipper. But the one thing that I did differently that was different from what my mom taught me is I actually chose to put that extra line between the colors, as you can see right there with my color switches. And that's not something we used to do. We'd always just go from one color to the next without the line. And I really like it. I think it adds a little more dynamics to the slipper. And it makes it more fun. I guess it really would depend on what you wanted to do, but I really enjoy it. I really like it. So that's my finished object.
Very nice.
Marsha, do you have any finished objects?
I do. I have a couple, actually. And all of my socks that had things hanging off of them last week, they have all been...
Blotted?
All the ends have been woven in. They've been blocked. And they are packed for Ireland. So I'm going to be wearing new socks.
I love that.
So
Packed
nice.
for Ireland.
Packed for Ireland. So, yes. So I finished a pair of socks last night. They have not been, the ends have not been woven in, and they have not been blocked, but they're off the needles. So I started these. I don't even think I have a Ravelry page for them. Actually,
I really like those.
I started them a few days before our sock knit along cowl began. I haven't even put them on blockers yet. And I just wanted to be knitting socks before the big push to knit 9 pairs, which I did not accomplish, but it doesn't bother me either way because I did lots of socks.
You knit lots of socks.
So I'm fine with that. That's
9 pairs in a month is a lot.
I know. I knit 6. I think 5 or 6. So I've knit, I think 8 pairs this year. 7 pairs this year? I don't know. I can check my Ravelry page. But these are them. They are done on size 0 American, size 2 millimeters. They are, I think it's 72 stitches maybe. And I put in on each side, I just did an additional little rib purl all the way down the side of the foot, and I alternated it so it's on the outside of each of my feet, and that just gives it a little bit more give. And this is in my journey of trying to find the perfect fitting sock. And the afterthought heel, and I just did a couple extra rows around before I started doing my decreases. And I haven't tried them on yet, so we'll see how that goes. It's interesting that I used to try them on constantly when I first started knitting socks, and now I'm just like, they're packed, whatever. And
ooh, what else? Oh, yeah.
Our cable along.
So this one worked.
I knit, this is the Messalina by Kay Jones. I blocked it. Now this yarn, it's a very pretty like white, off-white,
so pretty
cream color. And this is where you can see that beautiful cable compared to that cable. So it is fantastic pattern. The yarn is a pretty color, but it is 50% acrylic, 50% wool, and it feels like acrylic. And I did my edge too tight. I should have had my edge looser because while it was blocking, it was really nice, but now it's got like a lump there, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it's my own fault. It's nothing to do with the pattern. I did it too tight, and so next time I will probably use a nicer wool to start off with, and maybe go with a size up needle, because I'm a tight knitter, so that has nothing to do with the pattern. That's all me.
Yeah, it is really pretty though.
But I could wear it like a hood. It's gorgeous. It's a big... Hello, darling.
Hello.
No, I'll wear it like this. And you won't even be able to see that.
No.
I should not knit quite so tight.
I'm a tight knitter too, so I totally get it. Like my stitches are always like.
Yeah, and the pattern calls for DK weight, and this is a light worsted, so it's probably bigger than I would say it's pretty big, but I love it. Like I love all the things about it. So
yeah, it's so pretty.
Yeah, it's turned out very well. And the edges, when Kay blocked her, she just left the rib edge just to sit. And if this wasn't 50% acrylic, I think it would have held it better. But I kind of did little points on each of the twisted rib stitches just to give a little bit more definition. It has a little bit of a scalloping, but it's not as much as when I blocked it. Both my girls love it. One of them wants it in yellow and the other one wants it in this color, this exact one. I think she just is gonna abscond it. So
yeah, I think that she loves it so much. I think you've lost that one.
But also because of the kind of wool it is, if she takes it and gets anything on it, I can throw it in the washing machine.
Oh, that's nice.
So it's not
because it's the kid who plays outside.
Yeah, it's not like I'm going to knit this again, and I'm going to use a nicer wool. I just wanted to use something that was in my stash.
And that would show the pattern.
And that would show the pattern really nicely. And so what I had that was in my stash that would show the pattern really nicely was this yarn. So I don't have a lot of DK weight to start off with. I think I might have maybe eight knit picks skeins, like the small 50 grams in like 5 different colors.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because having 8 skeins is not very much in her stash.
But they're 50 grams, so they're small, and it doesn't have a lot of yarn on them. And I have them in like 5 colors, so one has 2 skeins of one color, one is 4 skeins of one color. There's not enough to do this in any of them.
Oh, okay.
So, and this I had enough to do this in, and I don't really I only have a couple skeins of lace weight.
Yeah, you've been using up your stash though.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to do, is just like dig into my stash, because I'm trying to use that up. And I'm going to actually
buy yarn in Ireland?
Excuse me. Well, yes, I am. But one of the things I want to do is I want to take some of the yarn that I have that's like this nice woolly wool that smells like sheep and will felt up really nicely. And I am going to design and make a clothing hamper.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's felted. So it's gonna be big. It's gonna be huge, and then I'm going to felt it and make it thick, and maybe make a lid for it or something out of felted. But
well, that'll be wonderful.
Yeah, and if all goes well, then if it all works out fine, then I'll maybe do up a PDF for the pattern and do it as a free pattern on Ravelry or something, because it's nice to have things to put things in that doesn't scratch your floor. So we have bamboo floors and they tend to get scratched really easily.
You know what though? It would make a great, like, if I don't know if you're thinking laundry basket, but it would make a great yarn basket.
Right.
Right, like a place to keep your yarn stash. And then whenever you're looking for something, you have to actually pour it all out and look through all of your yarn in order to find what you're looking for. It'd be so wonderful. Look what you've done to me.
I know. Every day's a surprise. So we are doing, for this month, the month of April, we are doing a cable along. And so that's why Scylla's doing her hat and I did the Messalina. We're doing, if you are on Instagram, it's hashtag cable along. And you can join us there and show everybody what you're doing. There is a chatter thread. And I do believe there's a finished objects thread as well, and quite a few people have already posted what they have completed in there.
They've already posted? So, wow, you guys are fantastic.
Yeah, fast.
You're so on it.
And I do believe the designer of the Messalina, Kay Jones, is doing a Messalina along right now. Messalina along. Knit along right now. So I think that, yeah, we don't mind if you're doing
the double dip.
Yeah, we don't mind if you double dip. So, and I think Kay's, they seem pretty fine with all the things anyway. So I think that that's fine too if it goes both ways. And ooh, so last time I recorded, I put a little bit at the end, saying, can you put in questions for Scilla, and I made a thread in Ravelry, and quite a few people responded, and
really?
So funny, yes, so funny. So Scilla never watches the episode, so I didn't think she was gonna watch and see that I'd been sneaky and posted this this little video at the end, and then she watched it.
It's true, and I don't watch the episode. I wanted to make sure that it worked. There's something about this one that I wanted to make sure it worked all the way through, and so yeah, I watched it, and I never ever watched them.
Okay, so we are going to do this. I'm going to ask all the questions in the thread. So if you put your question in here, your I'm going to say your whatever your Rav name is. I haven't asked anybody's permission, but I'm assuming since you asked a question in here that you don't mind. If you do mind, then
we are asking forgiveness. No, not
permission. We're asking forgiveness. Thank you in advance.
I'll teach you for next time.
So Scilla saw that part, but she hasn't seen the question.
No,
so
I'm not in Ravelry.
Her first time hearing the questions, so I kept that part a secret. All right, Scilla. So BJ7481 asks Scilla, what is your favorite yarn and weight do you like to knit with?
I like to knit with chunky Malabrigo. Chunky's a weight, right?
Sure. Yes, it is.
Yeah. Malabrigo yarn I just find is, I'm not sure if that's a type of yarn or a brand. I think it might be a brand.
Yeah, Malabrigo's a brand.
Okay, it's a brand. And their yarn tends to be really, really, really soft. And I can't even tell you why. Like, this is a worsted Malabrigo. And every time I'm in the yarn store, I end up buying Malabrigo. Yeah. Every single time. I'm like at the till and I look at it and it's Malabrigo. Yeah. And so
it's just what you're drawn to.
It's just what I'm drawn to.
I love it too. I love knitting with it.
And I'm all about the feel. Like, it has to be soft. Like, I don't actually like knitting with wool. And this yarn, these slippers I'm making right now are actually chapping my fingers. I've got a cut from knitting with the wool, and I don't like it.
Yeah, it dries your hands out a lot. And Scilla doesn't like using lotion.
No, I hate lotion. I hate the feeling of anything on my hands.
Yeah. That's your crust of air. Okay, so Yarnder Woman, that's Melinda of the Yarnder Woman podcast, says, Scilla, have you always kept pet rabbits?
Really? I have to go into this, don't I?
Yes. So we're going to back up for just 1 second. Twitch is not her rabbit. Twitch is my rabbit that she has stolen.
I love him.
When we bought our house, he came with the house. And they had a daycare downstairs. And they had so many pets that they couldn't find a place that would take their 3 dogs, 2 cats, fish, birds, and rabbits. So they asked if we would like to keep the rabbit. So we said, yes, we'll keep the rabbit. He was 4 years old at that time. At least 4 years old at that time. And we have lived here for 6 years, almost 7. So he's like 10 years old at least, 10 or 11 years old. So he's an old rabbit, and we do expect him to die any day. And every day he's still alive, I say, good job, buddy. Give him a pet. Yeah. But he's not Scylla's.
Yeah, I don't actually have a rabbit. Which is even creepier. But growing up, we had rabbits. One Easter, my dad brought home bunnies for us. And I had this adorable rabbit. Marsha had a rabbit too. My rabbit's name was Greystone. He was adorable. And I was carrying him around. I was about 6 years old. Was it about 6?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about 6. And I had my blankie. And I was carrying him in my blankie. And I carried this bunny everywhere. Greystone's a pretty good name.
I'm totally interrupting here. Scilla falls when she is standing still. Still.
When Marsha's children were babies, I wasn't allowed to carry them up or down stairs.
Okay, so continue.
Okay, great. So I'm standing in my backyard, and I'm standing on top of my smokehouse, which is just a giant wooden box. It's not my dad's smokehouse. And I'm holding Greystone in my blanket. And he slips up, and he is squeamish. Now's the time to get a snack, use the washrooms, walk away. He died. And it was very traumatic for me as a child. And and having siblings who like to tease me, being high anxiety child, that was really poor combination. But yeah, it was an unfortunate accident, but I, for many years, actually believed that I killed my bunny to the point of I murdered him. But it was an accident and it was careless, but if I hadn't been holding him, he wouldn't have died. And so that caused me a lot of anxiety. And then we got more bunnies, and then my parents decided to use them for meat. Whole other story. And
so our pets, we ate them.
And
I still can't eat rabbit.
Can't believe the direction of this thread. And so when I grew up, I wanted to have a rabbit, but my roommates wouldn't let me, because I've always had a roommate situation. And then I moved to Kelowna, and my roommate had a cat, and so I couldn't get a rabbit then. And then coming back here, my sister had a rabbit, and so I've kind of absconded him.
Yeah.
He loves me though, so it's okay. Ask him, he'll tell you.
He'll tell you.
Yeah, I buy him special treats. They're he doesn't like a lot of treats. He just likes this one kind by Martin. It's apple dumpling treats. So I actually special order them in now for him because it's the only treats he'll eat. That's my bunny crush.
He's spoiled.
So the long story short, rabbits have been part of my life since I was 6. There was a childhood trauma experience, followed by
She's trying to make it up to all the rabbits in the world ever since. Okay, yeah. She's got another question here. Was there anything that particularly inspired you to study child psychology? Without meaning to be overly personal, hope it's not a touchy subject for any reason, and my apologies if it is.
No, not at all. I know that, like, lots of kids, lots of people experience trauma in their lives, and I'm just interested in childhood trauma, how it affects people growing up and how it affects brain development. And I know that even because there's a lot of adults too who are dealing with different mental illness, depression, anxiety, and there's a lot of things that do stem from childhood. Obviously there is adult experiences that play into it. But we found in the research that the best intervention is early intervention. And I always knew I wanted to go into psychology because I was fascinated with human behavior and how people live and respond. And then in university, I was interested in victims of crime. And so I've done some work with like victim services as well, and specifically children's victim services, so kids who have to testify in the court system. And I found that I loved it. Like, not to sound weird in that topic, but I loved it. I loved working with kids and being there and being able to give them strategies to help through those tough situations. But yeah, I almost went into industrial organizational psychology for graduate school, which is basically psychology in business. So you help businesses make their people happier and do a better job. So it was, kind of a tough toss-up on which direction to go. Also, one has a lot of money and the other one has no money.
So she went for the one with no money.
Really should have thought this through. Thanks for letting me live with you, Mar.
Yeah, no problem. Okay. What's your favorite dinosaur? And Marsha, I'd like to know your answer too. What's your favorite dinosaur?
My favorite dinosaur?
Yeah.
It's a Triceratops.
Really?
Yeah.
I think mine's Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Really?
And the reason is I love chickens. We have chickens.
Yeah, and they're kind of the same. I liked them because they were cute and
little arms.
They were plant eaters. They didn't go around eating other dinosaurs.
Can you imagine this thing chasing after you? It's like a lumbering giant. Right? It's like little wings and it's like, I'm gonna eat you.
Oh my.
Get in my belly.
Okay, I love this thread. You can ask Marsha questions on this thread for next episode too. Doesn't just have to be to Scilla. This is awesome.
Okay, as well as your delicious spaghetti sauce, what else do you like to cook?
Tacos.
Tacos. Yeah.
Tacos. Yeah.
If Scylla's got something going on and I want to see her home sooner, I say, guess what we're having for supper tonight? Tacos!
And then I get home and she's like, I have the meat right there for you.
She likes to cook it.
I do. I like to cook it.
Next question, House of William. And thank you everybody who put in questions.
Yeah,
this is
thanks
awesome.
so much. This is awesome. This
House
is fun.
of William. Scilla, when you took those meds from the dentist, Did you actually see things, or did it just look like that on camera? I felt like we might need to re-record after last time's podcast. Because I didn't realize how the medication was affecting her until we turned the camera on, and then all of a sudden, that happened.
That's because the medication hadn't actually kicked in before. It was probably about 15 minutes into it that the medication really started to hit me.
Yeah.
And I felt out of my head.
Yeah.
Like, the whole world was kind of a movie, kind of a bubble, and it was like I was in a bubble, and it was like the whole world was going like this a little bit, and everything was funny. Everything,
yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't see things, which was good.
Okay, the next question is, and Scilla.
Yes.
Do you think pot holders with holes in them make any sense?
Physics of it, right? Because there has to be a reason they put holes in pot holders. And maybe if they need to have that air breathing room. I see pot holders that have legs. No. There's no right no.
Short answer, no. No.
No, trying, but no.
Okay, Mad73 would like to know, Scilla, what is your favorite candy?
Ooh.
Blue M&M's.
I like them. They're not my favorite.
No? What's your favorite?
Nerds.
Nerds, oh yeah.
Yeah, Nerds are my favorite candy. I love Nerds.
That's interesting, because they're disgusting.
No, they're so good.
they're so bad for you.
No, but they're...
Talk to your dentist. See what your dentist says about Nerds in your teeth.
I'd rather not. Yeah, I actually think I did really well, considering I've been eating candy for 12 years without going to a dentist.
Do you enjoy any hobbies other than knitting?
This is to me?
Yeah.
Yes. I like rock climbing. I like bicycling. I like snowboarding. I like to read, and the stuff I read for pleasure. Most people wouldn't call it reading for pleasure. I play Candy Crush.
My cup's bigger than my head.
What other hobbies do I like? I'm sure there's other things that I'm not mentioning, probably because they're guilty pleasures. I like to marathon through entire seasons on Netflix.
That's a hobby.
That's a hobby. Or a procrastination mode, I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to try new things. It's not really a hobby, but I like to try new things. So if somebody's like, hey, we're doing this, I'm like, I've never done it before. Let's go to Zumba. It didn't go well, but it was fun.
That didn't go well.
And I like to box. But I haven't been boxing in years.
What is your favorite season and why?
Ooh. My favorite season's winter. If I had to pick a season, it'd be winter. I love snowboarding, but I also love... I love the snow, I love the cold, I love the smell of winter, and I love walking around in a fresh snowfall. I'll take snow over rain any day. But, if I had to pick a season, it'd be winter. But my favorite time of year is actually the changing of the seasons. So when winter becomes spring, when spring becomes summer, when summer becomes fall, and when fall becomes winter. I love that change of the season. The transitioning time.
Okay, so...
Marsha, what's your favorite season?
Oh, fall.
Good talk.
Just fall.
Just fall.
It's fall.
It's always been fall, hey?
Yeah, it has. I love to be able to wear pants. I love to be able to wear sweaters. I love wearing nice boots that don't have to be waterproof or actually have any function other than looking cute. I like wearing cowls. I like wearing cute light jackets.
So fall.
And it's my birthday month, or year, or season.
Year.
It's my birthday year. It's my birthday season, so it's my favorite. Okay, Amy.
I wonder, can I ask them a question? How many of you, what's your favorite season? So think about it for a second. Now, does your birthday fall within that season? That's it. Go ahead. That's it.
That's it. Yeah. Okay, Amy Loris would like to know, just hang on a second, it just disappeared. Amy Loris has her own podcast as well, and it's called Knit Theory. She says, Scilla, I enjoyed your description of delayed gratification. I think you've convinced me that I should buy some yarn online. Right now. And enjoy days of delightful anticipation while it's being shipped.
I know, right? It's so exciting when you're waiting for things. UPS drove up right as we were started, and we're like, I bet it's for you. I'm like, I bet it is. And then they went across the street, and it was
disappointing. So your discussion did raise one series of questions for me. What if that chicken you saw in your kitchen were a live chicken, balking and squawking and flapping about? What would your psychological response then be?
We have live chickens in the backyard. I would probably, honestly, my response would be like, hey, that chicken's alive. Let's see if it gets along with the ones in the backyard. Like, here, chickens. I probably introduce them slowly because I want to make sure that they're going to get along. But if they're not going to get along, then we might be able to build another pen, but that seems like a lot of work. So I'd probably just get somebody to hold it and grab an axe, and then we'd have dinner.
Nice. Okay, so we're like urban homesteaders. Yeah, we live in the middle of town, but our front yard is completely garden. Our backyard is half garden. We have 5 chickens again because we got 2 new chicks. They're so cute. And so they're laying hens. So we're never going to eat them even after they stop laying. They're pets. They're like little puppy dogs and follow us around.
Yeah, they're not food.
But we do a lot of our own stuff, making of our own things, making bread and making things from scratch.
Yeah, a lot of canning.
A lot of canning in the appropriate season for that.
Yeah.
A lot of freezing, drying foods and stuff. So we do,
like, we're still eating frozen raspberries and asparagus from last summer.
From last summer, and we're growing fresh asparagus now that's ready. So we do a lot of that stuff, and so if we did find a live chicken, we would probably just put them in the backyard. Yeah,
that makes perfect
sense. Unless it was a rooster, then our neighbors would complain and we're not allowed to have roosters.
So we would probably find a farm for the rooster.
Okay. And what if you knew that chicken were going to be there? How would anticipation change your response and enjoyment?
Okay. So I would probably, first I walk in, I see the chicken, I don't know what's going to be there. I would probably be surprised, and I'd probably start strategizing on what to do with the chicken. If I knew the chicken was going to be there when I came home, I would make sure, I'm not sure if I have control over the situation coming into it, or if I just know there's going to be a chicken. I would probably have the pre-planning done before I get home with strategies on how to deal with the chicken and what to do with the chicken. I know if I really wanted a chicken, then I'd be super, super excited. Like, for instance, I know this isn't a chicken, but my cell phone died last Tuesday, and so I was without a cell phone for a week, and that's hard for me because I also need it for work. And I came off a night shift at a house, and then at a house. Yeah, I came off a night shift, and I knew that my cell phone was coming in because I'd been watching it, tracking it since the day I ordered it. So I've been following it and getting excited and the closer it gets to getting here. And I tried to stay up to wait for my phone, and I couldn't do it. But I was super excited. And then so I got the little mail in Canada. When Canada Post tries to drop off a package and you're not home, they give you a little slip that tells you can pick up your package usually the next day after 1 p.m. At least that's what mine said. And so it's 4 o'clock, and instantly I get up, I get dressed, and I'm out the door to see if I can get my phone early because I know it's here and I'm so excited. So relating that to a chicken, knowing it's going to be there it would change my responses. It would be any sort of surprise has a momentary, in that moment you feel an increase in adrenaline. Whether it's positive or negative adrenaline, there's still that adrenaline, and often the feelings of excitement and fear do the same thing physiologically. And so when you have that surprise situation, it gives you a heightened sense of arousal within your nervous system, and you just deal with it however. So if you know ahead of time, you're not going to get that same arousal coming into the chicken. I think that's probably where you were going with that. Long story short.
Long story short. Okay, so she says, if you'd like, I can post a chicken to you straight away.
You know what?
Thanks,
Now
Amy.
I'm actually excited for that chicken now. If you could post a chicken, maybe not yet because I wanna sit and I wanna wait for that chicken to come. So take your time and find a really good chicken that you think is gonna be fantastic because I'm gonna look forward to that chicken now that I know it's coming.
That's fantastic. You're hilarious. So that's all the questions that were in the thread. Thank you everybody for posting. I loved it. It's not
wonderful.
quite how it was going to go down. If Scilla hadn't known that there was going to be questions asked, I was going to bring them out in a different way, but she found out. So she found us out. So I thought I'd just get through them all. So everybody knows we're going on a trip.
Going on a trip.
In our favorite rocket ship.
Where you ask?
Zooming through the skies. Little Einsteins. No, we are 2.5 weeks away. Less than 2.5 weeks.
Less than 2.5 weeks away. 17 days.
Yeah.
We count the day we leave.
So
as being on holidays.
Yeah. As soon as we walk out the front door, we are on holiday.
So 6 a.m. on the 30th.
So that is coming up. We'll be doing one more podcast before we leave. Mm-hmm. And we are both super excited. I've packed. And
yeah. I'm half packed.
Yeah.
But not fully yet.
Very excited. Very excited. We are going to podcast from Ireland. We haven't decided yet.
We're not sure if we're going to end up doing 1 or 2 in Ireland.
Yeah. And if it's going to be just one really long one, or if we'll do 2 shorter ones, or maybe we'll do 1 actual podcast and then a video of all of the snippets of all the places we've been. The last time we went to Ireland, we videoed the whole time with a camera it's very low quality because it was 4 years ago. It was, my iPhone has better quality than it is. Yeah. And so we're very excited to actually have better quality videos. But we did video the last time, and what I found with the videos that we did do, it's a lot of us talking while we're in the car on the way somewhere, or right before we went in somewhere, or right after we came out from somewhere.
So it's a lot like podcasting where we sit on a couch and speak, except we're in a car.
Yeah, except we're in a car.
Yeah.
And, we had very positive experiences last time, and we had one not super positive experience last time, but we're going back to that same area. I think part of it's to clean our palate.
Yeah, and to... change the memory. Change our narrative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we know that situation was a very odd situation and it's not normal. Okay, I'll go into it.
Yeah, you might as well at this point.
I might as well at this point.
Or else it's going to be on the question thread.
Right. So what happened in Ireland? Stays in Ireland.
Don't you know?
So we went to this pub, and we had been to this pub before. It was in the evening, and we went to this pub and we sat down, and Scilla, she is
chatty and trusting.
Yes, and it was very interesting that she was going for her master's in psychology, because at that time she was just not quite switched on. And I'm like, shh, shh, shh. So what happened was we sat down. We sat down, and this gentleman joined us, and he sat with us and told us that he was...
Well, he started chatting.
He started chatting and pulling out information.
So, where are you girls from? Or your husband's with you?
Yeah, who are you traveling with? Where are you staying? But in a chatty way. So, are you in contact with anybody at home?
Yeah, so you're probably talking to people at home every day.
Just pulling out all of this little information as we go. And Scylla's like, hey, yeah, this is where we're from.
This is where we're staying.
We haven't talked to anybody in 5 days. They don't know where we are.
Yeah, because our cell phones don't work here. We don't have SIM cards.
Oh, yeah, we're at this place out in this area. And
she
just let it all fly.
Yeah, I was trusting and open. And...
This gentleman was, I would say mid-30s.
Yeah, I'd say mid-30s. And at that point, we were late 20s.
Yeah, and then he goes into how he is Ireland's Jack the Ripper, essentially.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah,
and
Ted Bundy was his reference.
And he starts talking about Ted Bundy and how he got caught and blah, blah, blah.
And how he'd do things differently, and that nobody would come looking for 2 cute Canadian girls because nobody knows where we are, and nothing bad ever happens in Ireland. And
that's right. So, we left.
Yeah.
But when we got up, he made it so that the only way we could go, because of where we were sitting and how we were sitting, the only way we could go was out the door.
Was directly
so
out the door.
We could not go and talk to the barman and tell him what had just happened. It was just like straight out the door. So we went out the door, went back to our cottage, packed up our stuff, and left. We went to another town.
Yeah.
From the other community, we called the Garda. And we spoke with them, and then...
And everybody we interacted on the way in this process, besides this one man, was absolutely fantastic.
It was. This is just the one situation. So we had to talk to the Garda, and they came back twice, took our statements. Then we went back to the community to grab the rest of our things, and we had to go and stop in with the Garda there. And they just asked that we check in with them everywhere we go, and they knew who the guy was, they knew where he lived, they went and talked to him. And they spoke with the barman, so like everybody was notified, and we just contacted everybody, and we did this like huge rant on videotape right after, so that there was like a documented record of everything that was said, everything that went through everybody's mouth.
Yeah.
That was the only weird, bad, odd experience. Nothing happened. We were fine.
Yeah, it was just a little bit odd.
Yeah, and, like, if he was actually, like, I think he was just trying to get a rise out of us. If he was actually that kind of person, he would not have told us that he was that kind of person. Like, necessarily. Do you think he may have?
Oh no, he absolutely would. Like, I think no. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, never mind.
Because he had us isolated.
Yeah.
And so he had a way of, we made our exit, and usually at that point when people make their exit, they're just like, that was weird, that was odd, and they don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
But he was also testing to find out how resourceful we were and how vulnerable we were, to find out if we were actually if he'd actually be able to target us.
Yeah. So, he could not.
No, we were not. We were not the girls he was looking for.
No. And it also, because we were not, we made the Garda very aware of who he is. And it was a very small community. We are going back to that community.
And the people we rented off were absolutely fantastic. They encouraged us not to go. They encouraged us not to leave. They encouraged us to talk to the Garda. Yeah. They went with us back to talk to the barman. Like, just wonderful, wonderful people.
Yeah. So, we are going back to that same community. It sounds terrible, doesn't it? But seriously, that stuff happens, and it happens more often than people actually realize. And so being aware when you're traveling, especially, that, to not divulge too much information, to be very aware of when somebody sits down with you and it's a hi, how are you doing conversation, that, maybe not telling them every single detail is probably good.
But you know what? It's also really good to have those experiences that work out, that give you the opportunity to change your response in the future. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that we're very fortunate, because that was definitely a learning experience. Yeah. For naive, little, trusting Scilla.
Right, and it turned out well.
And it turned out fine.
Right.
But I learned a lot in that lesson, and I learned, because Ireland's such an open, like, their Garda doesn't even carry guns. And so, you feel safe. Yeah.
Yeah, and we love Ireland. That's why we're going back. But, like, definitely, that's something, especially women traveling, and we do travel a lot, so, that's something we've definitely
need to be aware of.
And we've learned from that experience, so so that was good.
It's fantastic.
So yes, it's coming up. We are going to be leaving soon. We are going to podcast from Ireland. We are going to go to all the ruins in all the places. We are not historians. So
nope. So you will not get the historical history of the places.
You might get little bits, whatever's on the brochure when we walk in.
That's what you're gonna hear.
That's what you're gonna hear.
And then you're gonna hear the things like it was this old. We saw human bones in this burial site. That's the kind of information you're gonna get from us. So if you have this big expectation
lower
of a history location.
Come in with a low expectation. Maybe we'll impress you.
Well, that's true, because expectations are... People perceive the world through their expectations. So we're setting you up for disappointment, so anything over and above that, you won't be disappointed.
We'll be good. Okay, so we have a draw for our sock along. Thank you, everybody who went through all of that with us. We always go through, like, this emotional journey.
Yeah, we always hit on something that's a little bit...
We've had a weird life.
We have.
Like, there's a lot of weird things that we've experienced and seen and whatever. So just so you're aware, some of that stuff will come out. Even though this is a knitting podcast.
Look, we knit too.
Okay, so we have 158 members. Okay, so another thing is that for a 100 person draw, we drew a name. That person never contacted me, and I contacted them a couple times on Ravelry, and I never received a response. And that was for the draw for
a free pattern.
A pattern, yeah, up to the value of 10 Canadian dollars. And so they never contacted me, so we are going to do another draw. Do you want to do that today? And just do it out of all of our members?
Well, let's do it on the next one. This way it gives the person, if the person who did enter and did win is watching, gives them an opportunity.
Well, I contacted her a couple times, and I said, like, the end of March was the cutoff.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, we can draw today if you have the numbers up.
So yeah, I think we'll draw today, and we're just going to draw out of all of our members that we have now. We have 158 members, so we're just going to include everybody in that draw, if that's okay with you. So which one do you want to do first? Do you want to do the foot along one first?
Yeah, I need a random number generator, don't I?
Yeah, so you gotta grab your phone. Okay, so the foot along draw is for this beautiful project bag. Erin sent it to us for a giveaway. And it's a sock-sized bag, and it's got the drawstring. Sock-sized bag. It's finished off very nicely. There's no weird seams or anything hanging out, and it's really, yeah, it's really cute. And I'd say it's reversible, so if you like that side, you could have it, and if you like this side, then that's the side you can do. And she is from Holland Handmade. So we are drawing for that bag today from our foot along. So you've got the random generator.
What is our upper number?
Okay, so we're going from, excuse me,
2, because you're number 1.
Yeah, 2 to number 30. That's quite a few people
30,
joined
and this is the sock along then.
This is the sock along.
Okay. Congratulations, number 27.
27 is A Cliff. I'm going to write that down. Capital A-C-L-I-F.
Congratulations, A-Cliff.
A-C-L-I-F. So if you can private message me on Ravelry and send me your address, then we'll ship this out right away. That's number 27, and it's a pair of
red slipper-like socks.
Red socks to wear in December. So she knit them because she wanted red socks for December. So that's them.
They're really pretty.
Pretty good.
Yeah, really pretty.
Okay, so project
bag. We're just writing it down to make sure we're doing
so
all the
we
things.
Remember. Okay, now
right.
we are going to redraw for
the pattern.
It's the 100-person giveaway, and we have 158 members.
158? Oh.
So it's, yeah.
So 2 to 158.
No, I'd say, I think it's 1 to 158. Because I think it includes me as the first one.
Yeah, but you can't win.
Oh, I think it doesn't include me as the first one. I don't want to exclude the first person.
You know, that makes sense. And a random number is...
Oh, hang on a second. Oh, you already have it.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on.
Unless that number was wrong, unless it's not.
Just wait a second. Okay, yes, it does include me as number 1.
Okay, 2 to 158?
Yeah.
And our random numbers, are we ready for it?
Yep.
42.
42 is Celestia 22.
Celestia 22.
Who's
Congratulations.
Tanya?
Who is Tanya?
And the number's 42?
42.
Yep. So if you can get a hold of me, Tanya, and let me know what pattern up to Canadian $10, I think that's, I think it's about €7. I don't know how many pounds it is. Then I will get that pattern for you, and it's a Ravelry pattern, so it has to be downloadable on Ravelry so I can gift it to you through there. So it's just direct, so I'm not going to be mailing anything to you. So that is that.
That is that.
Yeah. So are you feeling positive about it, Scilla?
Absolutely. This has been a great day. I'm so glad we got to knit with you guys.
I know. Thanks for joining us.
And gals. Until next time.
See ya. Why is your smile?
Alright, so I need to cast on my cowl.
Yeah.
And so, I'm reading it. So using the long tail method and smaller DPNs. What are DPNs are double pointed needles, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cast on 112 stitches. I got that.
Mm-hmm.
Place markers and join. Being careful not to twist. Okay. But I can totally use the round. That's fine. Right?
Well, you're knitting in the round anyway, even with DPNs. But it's just using a cable needle to do it.
But I can use the cable. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
So do you...
What's the long tail cast on? Is it the one we normally do? Or is it a different cast on?
No, it's a different one.
Does it matter?
Yes.
Why?
Because when you're doing a hat or a sock, you want to use the long tail cast on because it's stretchier. There's other cast-ons that are stretchy, but that one's a really good one for stretchiness. I use the long tail cast on this sock that I'm working on.
Oh, okay.
And it's got this stretch.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that's why you want to do a long tail cast on. And that is, here, I'll show you. Have you done a long tail cast on before?
No, never.
Okay, so you're going to want to pull enough yarn off so that you don't run out doing your cast on.
Oh, because you double it. Okay.
Right. Do you have your needles handy?
No, because I don't know if because it gives me 2 size needles. It says 4mm circular needles and 5mm circular needles.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know which one I'm supposed to cast on.
Oh, you might be casting on from the top. How many stitches are you casting? Oh, yeah. Casting on 112.
Yeah, but it doesn't tell me which one to cast on.
Using long tail method and smaller DPNs cast on.
Oh, so smaller, so it'd be the 4mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so just hand me a 4mm. You don't even have to put on the end bit because I'll just show you how that looks. Here, just give me one.
I know, I just had to make sure this was the 4s.
It doesn't even matter because you're going to rip this off anyway.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you're going to start with doing a slip stitch. Okay? And so
what's a slip stitch? How do you start writing a slip stitch?
You know, looking at it and
yeah.
and doing it, for me, I just get confused. Okay, so you've got your short piece here, long piece there. So you put the yarn over top.
Okay.
You go over the short piece.
Okay.
With your needle. So your short piece is over here now.
Okay. Yeah.
And then your long piece is there. You go under your long.
Yeah.
And then you take the loop that you've created and put it over top.
Okay.
And you have a slip stitch.
All right.
Okay. So when you're doing the long tail cast on, you're going to want to make sure that your short piece is the piece that you are going around.
Okay.
So I'm going to show it in the camera here, and then I'm going to show it to you.
Perfect.
Okay. So this is the short side. This is the main yarn. Put your 2 fingers, your thumb and your finger, between the yarn, and then you grab both with your other 3 fingers.
Okay.
So it creates, it's just, you're holding the arm. You understand that, right? So then you take your needle and you go between your thumb and your finger.
Oh, okay.
So you make a V.
Yep.
So you're making a V.
And then you just pick up the yarn that you're holding here?
No.
Oh.
You're going to go around that yarn.
Oh, okay.
So that's the yarn that goes straight down.
And then you
that's
go around
the short
your thumb.
one.
Yeah.
You go in, through, underneath, and through the hole.
Yeah.
And then you go over top and under the other yarn.
Okay.
And you bring it through that loop, back through. I know, right? Okay, so then you tighten it up.
Yeah.
So you're bringing that V down.
Yeah.
Going through that hole.
Yeah.
And you're just
under, up.
You're just grabbing
over,
that
up,
yarn.
and then back through.
Yeah, and then back through. And then let it go, tighten it back up.
Then under, over, through. Under, over, through.
And after a while, I just learned how to do this cast on this year,
through.
actually.
Okay.
I was watching...
under, over, through.
So, well, in the last year, because last year I went to that knitting retreat in Sorrento, and that's when I actually understood it. Somebody showed me in person, but I'd seen it done before. I was watching Knitting with Balls, and he's a gentleman from Vancouver, actually, who has a like a knitting show, and you had to subscribe to it and pay for it, or I think that's how it works. But I watched the introduction one, and so he showed how to do it so that you can do it for knitwise and purlwise, and I was just completely lost. So then when I was in Sorrento, I was taking lace edgings, because I'd never knit lace before last year either. So I was taking the lace edgings course, and I had all of my stitches backwards and forwards, and everything was sideways, because I taught myself all of that stuff. And anyway, the instructor of the class straightened out how I was doing my yarn overs, and she showed me how to do the long tail cast on, and it actually stuck. So
well, that's good.
Sometimes it does take, instead of watching it on a video, sometimes it does take a person actually
to show you.
Showing you. So, yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to rip that off?
No. So this is my